Hey guys, it is Logan and David, and we're back with a few little updates about the course. We've kind of been getting a lot of questions about what's been going on, the weather, the par 3, this, that, and the other. So we're just going to kind of hit on a few things real quick. So first things first is kind of what's going on in the course. Where are we at? Because I know it rained a lot the past few weeks, and now it's hot.
It rained a lot, and it was very, very cool. Surprisingly cool for June. We were in 61 degrees in the morning, which is wow.
Yeah.
It felt nice, but that's not what we need in June, and it's certainly not what we need for this grassing project. A lot of rain, which the rain didn't necessarily delay the grassing project. It has delayed our establishment of that 6-hole par 3 course on the driving range. But in regards to the grassing project, I had somebody ask, which they, in a joking manner, I thought it was kind of funny. What are you guys doing? Just watching grass die? And because we, 2 weeks before we closed, we sprayed, and now it's been 2 weeks since we've closed, and so it's looked like it's dead for a long time. But in fact, we were actually waiting for it to regrow.
Okay, so you've kind of explained this to me, but just kind of to reiterate, so you put fertilizer back on it?
Right.
Okay.
So, with Roundup, anybody who's gone to Lowe's or Home Depot and bought the little gallon jug of Roundup and sprayed it in their flower beds and only to have weeds come back, like, oh, that Roundup didn't work. Well, it did. It just takes more on some plants. It takes more than one application for it to completely kill it. And so that first application that we made, it looked like everything was dead. Well, Bermuda grass is very difficult to kill, unless, of course, you're trying to want it to grow. Then you can kill it pretty easy. But when you're trying to kill it and spray it out, you might get 90% of it that dies. There's those stems that are underground that are living, and that's where the regeneration comes from, and from where you think the Roundup didn't work. Even though Roundup is a systemic, right? They say that kills from the top down or the roots up or whatever their commercials say, which is true. That just means it's systemic, but it doesn't get all of it, and so that's why we were fertilizing.
Okay.
So we were trying to promote anything that was still alive to regrow, to regenerate some leaves, because the other interesting thing about Roundup is it has to be absorbed by green leaf material. So you can spray it on stems, you can spray it on the trunk of a tree, and it won't do anything unless it's sprayed on green leaves. So we needed those green leaves to emerge again, applied fertilizer, waited, and we have since made our second application, and so that's where we're at now. And so if anybody that lives on the golf course looks out the back door and says, boy, it's been dead for a while and I don't see any action, they're not doing anything. That's the process. That's and it's essentially a sterilization, so that when we put down the new grass, we don't get the old stuff regenerating up into it, which would then cause different textures, different color blotches in the fairways, and we get a nice, clean, monostand look to our new fairways, tees, and greens.
Okay, good. All right, so that kind of clears up a lot, especially for me, because, again, you look out there and it just looks like dead grass, but there's so much more behind the scenes that people just don't realize.
We haven't just been taking a nap for 4 weeks. It was actually...
Goodness. Alrighty, so you mentioned about how the rain hasn't really affected the course as much as the walking par 3.
Yeah.
So can you kind of explain that a little bit?
Yeah, so as we all know, we get a lot of rain, and that the range gets closed because it gets so wet down there that the guys can't pick balls. We can't, so if you can't get the range picker out to pick balls, which has a relatively light footprint, we certainly can't get mowers and tractors out there either. because it's so soft and muddy. And so that's what's delayed it.
Okay.
If you notice now, you can start to see certain target greens that are established target greens, right, are starting to get lowered. They look a little bit different. That's we're taking the high to cut down, and we're starting to establish those as our, greens.
Yeah.
There's 6 of them for the par 3, and then we're establishing some tees. Just yesterday, Thursday, put in some walk paths from the tee to the green.
Okay.
Which will help, for in the beginning, if you don't know exactly where to go or what target flag you're hitting to, will help to determine that. And so we're getting close. I've got big 8-inch cup liners for the holes on the greens.
To put your cup
Yep.
in?
So with the
Okay.
flex, so it'll be a little bit more fun to putt because they won't be traditional greens. We're not going to roll like greens. They're fairway grass that we're just going to lower down. But it should be fun. It's 6 holes. I measured. They're anywhere from, I think the longest was 147 yards, and I think the shortest was somewhere around 57 yards.
Okay.
So it's a neat mix of and it should be fun.
Good
Light
deal.
poles are going up. Guys are
That's
installing light bulb
Yeah.
poles yesterday and today. And so, I'm excited about it. I can't wait to go out and play it.
Honestly, I know everyone is excited about it, and hopefully this rain will hold off for a while.
I think we're done with the rain for a little bit.
Good. I was tired of it.
You know how June and July and summertime in North Texas is. Mother Nature kind of turns off the spigot and it gets dry and hot, and I think we're there.
Good deal.
Yeah.
So, I think we kind of touched on everything. What is happening next? So once all the grass dies, every single bit of it, because that's what we want. We want this to be done right, which y'all are doing. What'll kind of happen then?
Okay, so, and this is actually going to start here pretty soon, next week.
Oh, yeah.
Might be towards the end of next week, but we're waiting on our new phrase mower. And what that is essentially like a wood planer, like a big giant wood planer that goes and just, we can set the depth at however deep we want it, and it smooths off the surface and just kind of shaves off those little small undulations and inconsistencies. So you got a nice flat surface, and then he also gets rid of that old dead material. And there's a few more components to it, but that's a good first sign and the first step towards actually planting grass. And here coming up, once we get started doing that phrase mowing and we have refined the process, I'll have my next little discussion on Wednesday evening about that. Had a great turnout this past Wednesday. Was really happy to see those folks there, and a lot of great questions came out of that.
Everyone's interested and they're excited.
Yeah,
wonderful.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's important for everybody to understand what we're doing, and you can always ask me if you see me around, and or come to the little discussions. And this one will truly be a ride around because we will go out onto the golf course and see the process while it's happening, and so share some information and hopefully get some better understanding on everybody's part of what we're doing, why we're doing it, how we're doing it.
Yeah.
So
good deal. Well, thank you for coming in here and kind of discussing a few things, because I know, like we mentioned before, people weren't able to come this past Wednesday. So I think it's good to kind of keep everyone updated, informed, and hopefully we're done watching grass die.
Yeah. Well, if I can't grow it, I can certainly kill it.
Well, that's one thing.
Yeah.
And again, we just want to thank your team again, because y'all are not just working on the course. You have to do everything else around the club, which is a lot, and it's hot out there. And
so, we've been trying to keep up with all the landscaping and ripping out some of the shrubbery from the storm damage, and still a process.
Yeah, I mean, y'all have a lot on your plate, and we just want to thank you and make sure that y'all know that y'all are appreciated for it.
Great.
So,
Thanks for saying that.
Yeah, no problem. Well, you've got to get back out there.
Yeah.
I don't want to keep too much of your time.
Cracking the whip.
Y'all know me. Alrighty. Well, thank you, everyone. Hope you have a good day and a good weekend, and hopefully soon we'll be on this walk in part 3.